Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's card is featuring this sweet mermaid image from the Rabbit Hole Designs new stamp set called High Tide. And you'll see I first stamp the image onto a cardstock panel, and then I create a couple masks. I create a mask for her, and then I am freehand drawing another mask, which will be a rock. And then I go into coloring, and I start with her skin, which I have always struggled with. So I start with the skin because if I mess that up, then I haven't spent a lot of time coloring everything. So I always start with the hardest things first, just in case I mess them up. Then I can always stamp it out again. And I start again with the darkest color first, and I lay down a lot of shadowing. So I lay down shadows wherever her hair covers up areas. So underneath her hair, and then under her chin, around her necklace, under the shells, and then by her tail. And then I add some, sweet peach color, pinkish peach to her cheeks. And then I go in with the lightest color and I blend it kind of together. And then I go in again with the darkest color and lay down more shadowing. And that's kind of how I do it. I go dark to light and then dark to light again. And it all just kind of blends out as you add down more layers of color. And I put in little lines where her elbows would bend, things like that. And then I jump onto her hair, and I wanted her hair to have kind of like a sun-kissed look. So sun-kissed blonde look, like kind of like a California blonde. So I go in with a kind of brownish color. It's I think like sienna brown. And again, I am adding shadows. So wherever, hair is covering up, another, where a lock of hair covers up another, bunch of hair, or where the star and shell are, or where the hair curls, or where I think there's, a bend in the hair, I will add shadowing. Then I go in with the next darkest, just like the skin, dark to light, and then dark to light again. And there's a chunk of coloring that I forgot to record, and that's the next shade. So it's the lightest color of blonde that I add, that I forgot to color. But I use like a 3-color blend, and I usually, when I'm coloring, will do a minimum of 3 colors. And then I jump onto her tail. And for the mermaid tail, I actually ended up Googling Barbie mermaids, the Barbie mermaid dolls, and they come up with a bunch of options. So I found this one that had like a pink ombre effect. So it went from pink to like a salmon pink. So I started with a darker pink. I started with the pink at the top, and then the salmon at the bottom, and I gradually moved up with the salmon to a lighter color and of the salmon, and then I moved the pink toward the salmon, and I left it kind of whitish where I thought the sun would hit, where it would be the lightest. And then I added my shadows in wherever I thought there would be shadows on her tail, like where the tip of her tail meets her fin, or where the tail bends. I added the darker color in. And then for the shell, I ended up doing again the salmon color. And for the stars, I just did pink right in the center, and kind of the darkest pink in the center, and then kind of made the lighter towards the edge. And then orange pearls, or salmon colored pearls. Popped on the masks, and then did some ink blending. And this one's Making Wave stencil. And then I used Something Borrowed. Was the blue I used for the water. And then I went in with the Oh Boy. And these are Catherine Pooler inks. I love Catherine Pooler inks because they blend so nicely. And especially when I'm using that big cottontail blending brush. And then I go to town with the rock. So I am creating this rock and I am adding the darkest shadowing, and I go in with some black, and then for the rock I use cool grays for my rock. And I start with the 90%, and then you go right down to the 10%, and then again, like I said, with the skin I go dark to light, light to dark. And then I create some, little fissures or cracks in my rock to make it more rock-like and not blob-like. And then I also, like I say, go in light to dark, dark to light, just layering down the color. And when I blend my colors, like I blend the colors together, but to smooth everything out, I will either use, here I'm using white, so I'll use either the white pencil crayon, or I go in with a blender pencil crayon, like Prismacolor Premier has a blender, and I'll use those. And those are the only two things that I use to blend. I'm not a Gamsol user, so I just use those ways to blend. And then for my shell, I wanted a two-tone effect. So the top shell I do in a lighter blue, kind of like a white blue. So I add in my shadow layers of a light blue, and then on the bottom I go in with like a cobalt blue, and then a really dark blue right where the shadows would be, right in those lines. And then I blend it all out. And for the shell, again, I'm going to use a white. I think I use white for the blender. And then on the top, and then I use that a lot. So for the top, I'll try not to use and then. For the top, I'm using a white to just kind of pull the color. And that's what can happen when you're using the white and the other blender, is you can pull the color across as well. And then I stamp on my sentiment and pop it on a card base, add some bling, and that's it. So thanks for watching. I hope you like my card. Don't forget to like and subscribe.